to Lord Hayward now, Robert Hayward, who's a Conservative pollster and peer, about what is going on in politics, because Sir Keir Starmer gave the green light for the punishing budget tax raid, according to Ms Reeves. It's interesting as well, Robert, isn't it, that she said that she doesn't believe that national insurance rises led to greater unemployment. There are so many people who have contacted me after I put that on Twitter and simply asked. Chris Hume, for example, he is a business owner. We used to hire 2 to 3 apprentices a year. We're a growing software business. Now we just offshore junior tasks. Low-skilled labour and trainees are simply unaffordable now. The cost of the company is a way out of kilter with the value they bring. It's not their fault, but it is true. Clear issues for businesses here about the political decisions the Chancellor has made. Robert, what do you make of it, and what's the polling impact?
Well, it's quite clear if you take money out of people's pockets, whether they're individuals or businessmen and women or whatever, and put it into the Treasury, that's less money in the economy, with the net result that that's fewer jobs. It's sure as day follows night. You can't take money out of people's pockets and not have an impact on employment. And as that businessman's just said, he'll go offshore. He'll find other ways of solving issues that he would previously have solved by employing people. And that's a truism not just about national insurance contributions, it's about taxation in general.
And energy bills is another thing I'm really interested in talking about because of what happened at Prime Minister's Questions yesterday. I just want to play a clip now of this exchange between your party leader, Kemi Badenoch, and Keir Starmer, asking Keir Starmer about energy bills. I think this isn't true either. Let's see what Keir Starmer said at Prime Minister's Questions.
Let's start with the Energy Secretary, who wants to recycle himself as leader. He said he'd cut families' energy bills by $300.
And play it again. I'll get the people behind the scenes to tell me when we're ready to do that. Let's play that clip from Prime Minister's Questions right now.
Let's start with the Energy Secretary, who wants to recycle himself as leader. He said he'd cut families' energy bills.
We just have an audio problem on that, but it was Kemi Badenoch saying, talking about the Energy Secretary who wants to recycle himself as leader, she said. He said he cut families' energy bills by £300. Keir Starmer said, I'm very pleased to say we're taking £150 off and it's a joke. I could also tell her that that's on top of the £150 we've taken off last year for the 3 million poorest families, now for 6 million for families. She says that I asked him about energy bills. He could power the national grid and all that hot air. He promised to cut energy bills by £300. Now, this is not a scientific survey, but of the dozens of people who got back to me when I asked them specifically, has anybody's energy bill gone down? And similarly, has anybody saying that national insurance rises haven't led to unemployment? And not a single person believed either of those statements. What do you think, Robert?
I think the significant message is that thing on the front page of the Times this morning, which says that energy bills, individual energy bills, and one has to remember it's also company energy bills and therefore employers' energy bills, which means it's jobs, are going to go up as a result of the net zero targets. There may be some people for whom a bill has gone down, but clearly the understanding overall is that energy bills are rising. There may be a slight variation in relation to the energy cap, which originally arose out of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. But in general, inflation is there, people are feeling it in their pockets, and it comes back to the question you asked initially about national insurance contributions and the impact on the polls, whether it's an energy bill, whether it's national insurance contributions, etc. There is clear evidence that the current government is the most unpopular newly elected government there's ever been. It's not that newly elected now, but the Starmer and Reeves favourability ratings are at minus levels, which are unknown in polling terms ever.
It's interesting as well, even some of the polling done of Labour members puts Keir Starmer at -3, and when you ask favourable or unfavourable and put that together, that's perhaps not the most scientific polling, but nonetheless is polling that is interesting. I wonder how much you see things going, the trends you see going in regard to what I believe is a strong anyone but Nigel movement, the ABN movement I call it, where there are people who are clearly coalescing on the left to do all they can to keep Nigel Farage becoming Prime Minister. I think we saw a bit of it in Caerphilly from your expert view, do you think this is something that is happening, and the impact on the polls, and how there are people who in marginal constituencies may well vote tactically to keep Reform UK out because of the hatred and demonisation of Nigel Farage?
I think there may be some of that. There is initial indications of tactical voting. People's analysis of tactical voting is probably overdone, the expectation of it. At the moment, most of the flux within the Labour Party, not just within MPs or peers, but in the Labour Party in general, is they're not concentrating on Nigel Farage in terms of stopping him. At the moment, they're desperately trying to find an alternative to Keir Starmer. And you could say ABK, anybody but Keir. And the conversations that you have in Parliament at the moment, which you will be aware of, are such that it is, at the moment, Kemi Badenoch said yesterday, caretaker Prime Minister. That is very clearly the impression that the vast majority of the public, of the Labour Party, feel. It's a question of who and when, not if.
Yeah, very, very interesting. What do you make of the fact, you're a member of the House of Lords, of course, Labour is getting rid of the hereditary peers. They've appointed a couple of the hereditary peers now as life peers, so that membership of the House of Lords will end when those people die, rather than being passed on to the son, if there is one. I wonder, Robert, what you think of this, because Labour said they've never said they want to abolish the House of Lords necessarily. They've talked a lot about reform of it. There was some reform under Tony Blair when he got rid of all of the hereditary peers, apart from, I think, 92 of them. What do you make of the fact that Labour is appointing so many peers now? They would argue, of course, they don't have a majority in the House of Lords, so actually this is sort of evening things up to some degree. But with an appointed House of Lords, it's still one of the biggest legislatures in the world.
Yes, and the House of Lords will get smaller when the hereditaries finish, which will be at some stage in 2026. And it will still be quite a large second chamber, but it's supposed to be a house of experts. I'm afraid, I think it's fair generous to say, but that Boris was somewhat generous with his awarding of peerages, and Labour are saying that this is their response. Two wrongs don't make a right. And what is striking about the list that was published last night is that it will add to the anger of many of the Labour MPs, members and peers, because if you look at the list, there's 25 new Labour peers. They are centred on the Westminster bubble, and overwhelmingly, if they are not in the Westminster political bubble, they are actually councillors in London. 2 from Southwark, 1 from Lewisham, 1 from Hackney, 1 from Brent, 1 from Islington. Then if you look across the whole of the rest of the country, there's 1 person, one councillor from Newcastle. And therefore people outside London this morning in our house are saying, what are we worth if all the awards go to people in London?
Yeah, it's a very, very good point, and one certainly that we'll continue to talk about throughout the programme. Certainly when it comes to the BBC, they've been accused of having a metropolitan BBC, London bias, a little bit of Manchester bias as well there. We'll talk about all those issues. I just want to play you a voice note now, Robert, about someone who's been in touch about this puberty blockers issue, a big, big issue today. This is Elisa in Chelmsford, who has a very strong view about it.
Good morning, Peter. Now, look, I'm not one to use the Nazi term lightly, but I honestly feel that using children for medical experiments in the way this dreadful government intends to is tantamount to child abuse and what Nazis did to their victims. How can anyone of sane mind think this is okay? It is not okay. Is there nothing we, the people, can do to stop this madness?
Certainly a very strong opinion from Elisa in Chelmsford there. What's your opinion on this puberty blockers story?
I have to be cautious because I'm not a medic, and I have worked with the MHRA, who are the people who've approved this trial.
This is the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency.
And I have a good regard for them, but I'm inherently extremely cautious about any form of trial in these sorts of circumstances. Sadly, Peter, I'm old enough to know that puberty blockers were used by the East Europeans for their gymnasts, the Nadia Comaneci and the Olga Korbets of this world, and it was certainly not generally perceived as good medicine then. So I have doubts in my mind, but I'll leave it for the medics to be more specific and more detailed in their analysis.
Robert, thanks for your contribution this morning. That's Lord Hayward, Robert Hayward, the Conservative pollster and member of the House of Lords. What do you think?